Hey everyone, Miranda Pitrone back here with you with the whale that we just finished from a previous video. A lot of you have given me the awesome feedback telling me that you would like to see the sunset gradient done on this canvas, so I thought I would show you just a quick way how I do that and a couple other fun tips like marbling dots and other items. So usually what I like to do for the gradient is pick a couple colors of each, so a dark and a lighter one, and that way it kind of gives the lowlights and highlights as you go through the background. It just kind of offsets one another nicely. So I do that with like the purple, the pink, and the coral, which I think I'm going to use for this canvas. And I might even throw a little bit of yellow, we'll see here, but I think we'll start off with the purples here, and I'll start off with the darker one. And you just kind of want to think about sectioning it off in your mind on the canvas where you want to put each section of color, but you want them to blend too. So this would be like your first section of purple, and then the middle would be the pink, and then as you got higher out it would be the coral and yellow. But you can just put a little marker here to remind yourself that that's about where you want to stop, with maybe a few over the line up and down with each color. And that way you have this section of purple, pink, and then the coral at the top. And then you'll intersperse a few over the lines in between to give that blending effect. And you just sketch it all the way across there and block it off for yourself. And you don't want to stay confined completely within these lines, because you do want them to blend into one another over the line. So you'll see as we go, I'm just going to give a couple above and below each of the lines to blend the background into one another. So the pink would come into the purple and then on either side. And that way you get the gradient from the top to bottom. So I'm going to use the brush, but you can use your dotting tools or whatever. And too, what you can do is toss some big dots, little dots, and just kind of haphazardly work your way around the canvas. And then you're not bulking up in too much in one area of color, you're not bulking up too much in one area with a certain size. You can take your dotting tool, like a large one like this, and put some big ones down to start to fill in the section faster for yourself, and then come back in with some smaller dots as you go throughout the piece too. And then just let them run out as well. So you don't have to switch tool sizes. It's really just an enjoying, haphazard, place them all around to fill in the space type of dotting, which I find kind of therapeutic and quite frankly freeing. You know, you get confined to the mandalas often and it maybe feels a little more strenuous trying to keep a design and keep sizes of your dots, whereas this, you can just go willy-nilly, put them in and space them out throughout that purple zone and just make it enjoyable for yourself. And that's what it looks like, all filled with those purples. And then I'll let that section dry and start into the next zone of the pinks. And I'm going to use the wild berry because it's got kind of a little idea of purple hint in it, but it's also got the coral in it. So it's a really nice tropical pink to use for the sunsets, I think. So you can see the hue of this pink works well with the purple, and I'm just haphazardly filling in this zone as well. And also you want to just get really close to the line, bring a couple into the whole zone to blend over one another. I'm just going to pretend like that noise didn't happen. So I'm going to go to the coral now that we have that pink zone kind of bulked up. We'll put this coral in at the top. And you can let some come down into the other zones as well along that line so that it'll start to blend nicely for your background. And as I'm doing this around the spout, I'm thinking I want to leave space because I want to do a couple sprinkles of the white to kind of create that sprinkle of water type look, like it's a splash. So I'm trying to be mindful of that as I go around our water spout. Also, what I'm thinking as we're doing this, you know, if you were doing a background that was solid, you could do it same idea with the 3 colors and then just swipe across with a large brush. Maybe I'll show you that on the stone here in a minute. But it's the same idea, you get the gradient. And that way too, it creates kind of a blended background for you to put behind something, and then you can paint on top of the background. But it's already blended into one another. So if you didn't feel like putting in all the work for the dots for the background, you could also do a blended background before you do your whale. So here's a nice little stone, and let me just get the orientation on how I would want to do this one. I think I'll have it this way. But you can either put 3 dots of paint right on your stone, 1, 2, 3, with your colors for the gradient, or you could do it on a palette. I'll just do it off to the side here. So there's my pink, and then put the purple and the coral down here with it. And you could do it on your palette too. It just gives you a place to dip your brush in. Like that. And then I would just use a sponge brush like this. And you can swipe it all the way across from side to side, just keeping your colors in alignment, and they'll kind of blend as you go. And then just keep on dipping it. It would be better if I had a larger brush. I just couldn't find it here, but you can see just kind of blend as you go. And I didn't want to get too much purple higher up, so I'll just grab it from the coral here and go across the top. But that way too, you get kind of a messy blended sunset gradient background just by doing that. And if you don't want the brush lines through it, you can always take it and dab or use your finger and then just kind of dab across. I'll give you an idea here. Just want to blend these out a little bit better here. But then just dab, dab, dab as you go, and that'll help have less lines across it, and you'll just kind of blend them in together to get that sort of faded background sunset color. And the bubbles will pop afterwards too, you'll see, just kind of pat it in there to blend it. And you can also, like I said, use your finger and you won't get the brush lines. Do some finger painting. But you can see the difference that makes as opposed to even the lines with the background. I also have rollers that I'll use, and you roll it through your paint and then just roll it across back and forth on your background. I do that a lot when I'm doing a larger canvas and I want a different background. I'll even use the roller for my black matte background, and then I don't get brush lines in my background on a canvas. Alright, so back to our whale here. And I can add my white in now, I think. That way I can just do the finish of my coral without worrying about taking up the space here. So just to make it look kind of like it's splashing out of the spout. And that way too, I'm just going to come back in here and do the fill work with our coral. And really, it's just don't get bulked up too much in one area. Just keep on going back and forth, spacing it out. I'm going to go with my highlight purple now here. It's the Wild Orchid. And that'll just give you some highlights down here for the purple zone. And then I just want to kind of bring it up here a little bit, the highlight, up to blend our zones. Alright, so here I'm just showing you the marble dots, which you could do in the background too. So you just pick up a little bit of each color of paint, the highlight and the low light, and you do dots using that. So you could even do your dark zone, your light zone, and then in between put all these. See, if you have your dark zone down the bottom and then your light zone at the top, then in the middle, you know, say that's your dark, that's your light. In the middle, just kind of place all your mixed dots that are the marbled effect, and that will help blend your zones as well. So if you have dark, dark, dark here on the bottom, and then you have all the lights at the top, then just to create another different type of effect, you do kind of the marble dots in between where you're mixing them, and you'll have both those colors combined, and then just give a couple up top, a couple down low, and that will also help blend your background. That's just a fun, different way for design. So this is another thing you can do too, is take multiple colors in that zone. So take your pink and the coral and mix them. And these two make really pretty dots together. But pardon me, you can dot with these, do a mandala with these, do your background with these. And I just think it's a really nice mixture of colors, but that you could do in your mid zone as well. Take both colors like that. See how pretty those are? And obviously the larger the dots, the more of the mixture you can see in between. Let's get back to our little whale here. I know I keep going on tangents, but that's the way my brain works, is I start getting all these other ideas of explaining how you can do a background. And the marble dots are fun. You don't have to use them in a background either. It's fun to do just with your mandalas as well. I'm just deciding on a pink here that I want to put for our pink zone. I'm going to go a little lighter with a peony pink. And this one's more of a true pink, so it has less of that purple, but it gives a nice little pop of the pink color here. To even bring it down in here with that lovely pink. And it's really just an enjoyable therapeutic time of back and forth, and fill work. You just tuck them in and fill the most that you can. You can see I'm not keeping to a straight blocked off line either. As long as you make sure to get good coverage with all your dots, your backbone will be fine. So you just kind of look at it in a picture, and that way you can see if you've missed any spaces, or if you want to go back over, just take a quick shot with your phone, or I'm looking at it on the video here just to see if there's anywhere else that I want to fill in. And now this is the coral shell, which is a nice light coral. I think I probably will use this and not go with any yellow, because this is going to give it that bright enough pop at the top to lighten it up here for our gradient. And again, it's just fill work, enjoying your time. It's pretty therapeutic, not stressful. I just love doing these backgrounds. But the idea is that you're just blending everything to create that more solid look with just a bunch of dots. just find this so therapeutic that you can just relax and put them wherever you want. But again, just double check yourself, maybe step away for a minute and look at it again just to see where you might have missed or a place that might look blank, tuck a few more in that way. So I hope you've enjoyed doing this little guy with me. I'm just gonna blend some down in here as well. But it gives you a good idea then of how to do the gradients and how to do kind of a progression of color, especially for a sunset. Just kind of two-tone it. You could even do 3 different colors of each, if you have 3 different shades of the coral or pink or purple, and fill it in even more. It doesn't matter if they overlap the dots as well. It's just going to kind of create a more cohesive background too. So I was really thankful a lot of you had asked me to show this background, because this way I can show you how to do it and show you the completed that I did. Also, I just recently found the community section on YouTube, so we can do it on there as well. So there he is. And then I'll double check him and let him dry probably for 24 hours before I varnish it. But you can see little spots that maybe you want to tuck a few more in here, or just by looking at it, stepping back and taking another look at it. But anyways, I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. If you guys, Instagram's more of like viewing type as opposed to interacting. If you're looking for more interaction, I'm on Facebook at Miranda Pitrone Art. So you can find me there. And also share pictures with me if you want to share some things that you've created. That would be awesome. But again, I'm super thankful for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed doing this little whale for the gradient background and the marble dots and the solid background. Just a couple little tips, but even in here you could put a few darker ones or do a different if you wanted to do 3. So all right, I look forward to chatting with you all again and seeing you in the art community, and I hope you have an awesome day today and had fun doing this little whale.